All right, let's tackle this Cadiz parking puzzle. We're going deep on the best ways to park in the historic center. Especially since you mentioned Carnival, things get pretty crazy then, huh? Our main source is this awesome guide from Visiting Cadiz, and it covers, like, all the parking
It
options.
really is like a treasure map, leading us right to stress-free parking.
Totally. So, first things first. Anyone who's even considered driving in Cadiz's historic center knows parking can be a nightmare.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Cadiz's charm is those narrow, winding streets, and those were definitely not made for today's cars. Finding free parking in the historic center, almost impossible. Especially during peak times like Carnival, it's like finding a unicorn.
Oh, I bet. Okay, so if free parking is basically a myth, what's the best strategy?
Definitely parking IC's Santa Barbara. It's the top recommendation, might even save your sanity during Carnival.
Hmm.
What's great about it is you can book online through Park Commuter. No more driving around forever, trying to squeeze into tiny spots.
That's amazing, especially for someone like me, not exactly a parallel parking pro. You said online
Yeah.
booking. Does that mean I can reserve a spot before I even get there?
Exactly. With Parkimeter, reserve your spot at Santa Barbara in advance, pick your arrival time, even pay online. It's like having a VIP pass to a guaranteed parking spot, even during the craziest times.
Wow, that takes away, like, all the stress. Where exactly is Santa Barbara, though? Is it close to, all the action?
Perfectly located, actually, near Paseo Santa Barbara. A beautiful promenade. Easy walking distance to the Genove's Botanical Garden, Santa Catalina Castle, even Caleta Beach. You're right in the middle of everything.
So even if I'm a little nervous about those narrow streets, knowing I have a parking spot at Santa Barbara waiting for me, that definitely helps.
Speaking of those streets, I know you were a little unsure about driving in Cadiz. Well, this guide actually recommends another article. Has even more tips for navigating those charming yet challenging roads.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out. We also talked a little bit about hotel parking. Is that a good alternative?
Yeah, lots of hotels in Cadiz have parking, or at least temporary unloading zones. This is really helpful if you're staying in the historic center and mostly want to explore on foot.
Makes sense. Any hotels you'd recommend specifically for their parking?
Well, if you want luxury and parking included, the Perro de Cadiz is a fantastic choice. High-end hotel with its own parking lot, no street parking stress at all.
Ooh, tempting. But let's say I'm on a budget, not staying somewhere fancy. What about street parking then?
Ah, yes, the famous blue and orange zones. You'll see these designated parking areas all around, places like Plaza de España, Punta de San Felipe, and Alameda Apodaca.
Okay, so blue zones and orange zones. What's the difference?
They're both paid street parking, but the blue zones are cheaper, about €1 per hour. The orange zones are a bit more, 1.20 per hour.
So quick errands, like a shop or a bite to eat, blue zones are the way to go, budget-wise.
Exactly. But remember, both zones have a time limit, max 3 hours. You can't park there all day and go explore.
Got it. Besides Santa Barbara and the street parking, I heard Cadiz has a lot of car parks. Let's get into those, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's unlock those parking secrets. Our guide gives a whole list. We'll go through each one, talk about the good stuff and not so good stuff.
Sounds like a plan. I'm ready to become a Cadiz parking expert.
All right, let's start with parking Las Calesas. Not the biggest, but it's got a very interesting location.
What's so special about where it is?
Well, it's near the starting point of a voice map audio guided tour. You park your car and boom, you're ready to explore the city.
Oh, that's smart. Combining parking with a ready-made audio tour, that's a super efficient way to see Cadiz. What kind of tour is it?
I haven't actually done it myself, but the voice map website has great reviews. Seems like it covers a lot of history, even throws in some local stories and stuff.
I'm intrigued. I'll have to check out their website. What other car parks are worth mentioning?
If you want a modern parking experience, Parking Canalejas is great. Newer car parks in Cadiz even has those cool red and green lights above the spaces.
You mean those lights that tell you if the spot is free or taken?
Exactly. No more driving up and down rows hoping for an empty spot. Plus, Canalejas is right by the Cadiz tourist office.
Perfect. Park the car, grab some maps, get all my tourist questions answered all in one place.
Exactly. It's all about convenience, making your visit as smooth as possible.
Love that. Now, for people on a budget, any car parks that won't break the bank. We were just talking about budget-friendly car parks. Any standout?
Oh, yeah. For budget travelers or those with camper vans, parking Reina Sofia is the best.
I saw that one. At the Reina Sofia dock, right. Super affordable compared to the others.
Exactly. One of the most affordable in the city center, like €1 per hour. And they're totally cool with camper vans, which can be hard to find.
That's a great tip, especially for anyone traveling with a camper van. Any height restrictions or anything camper van drivers should know?
Good question. I don't have the exact measurements here, but I'd check the Parkometer website. Or call the car park directly. They should be able to tell you.
Good point. Always better to be safe, especially with a bigger vehicle. Okay, so Reina Sofia for budget and camper vans. What else?
Parking Mu Pesquero is another good one.
Okay, what's the deal with that one?
234 spaces, 10 euros for the whole day, good value. And it's pretty close to Plaza de Sevilla, the Ayuntamiento, and San Francisco.
So central location, good balance of price and convenience.
Exactly. Now, parking Valcarcel is a bit different. It's actually in a former school building.
Whoa, parking in an old school.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Uh,
Tell me more about Valcarcel.
well, it's near Caleta Beach. Great for those sunset walks you mentioned. Also good for exploring the Viña neighborhood. It's got a real local vibe.
Sounds perfect for beach lovers and people who want to experience,
Yeah.
like, the real Cádiz.
Yeah.
Any downsides to Valcarcel?
It fills up fast during peak season. Not a good choice if you arrive late without a reservation.
Good to know. Always need a backup plan, especially when it's busy. What's next on our car park tour?
Parking Santa Catalina, also called Campo de las Balas.
Campo de las Balas. That's interesting. What's that all about?
I looked it up. Campo de las Balas means field of bullets. Apparently, the area was used for military training back in the day, hence the name.
Wow. Little bit of history in a parking lot. Besides the cool name, anything else notable about parking Santa Catalina?
It's a bit out of the way from the main tourist spots, which could be good if you want a quieter spot. But the ground is dirt, so your car might get a bit dusty.
Ah, the joys of parking. Okay, so Santa Catalina, for those who want a quieter, more off-the-beaten-path experience, what's left?
Well, there's parking train station Cádiz right at the train station, obviously. About the same distance from Plaza de San Juan de Dios as Mua Pesquero, so another central option.
Super convenient for people arriving by train. No need for taxis or buses.
Exactly. Now, parking Campo do Sur is a big one. Tons of spaces right by the cathedral and the central market.
Sounds like a prime spot, but there's got to be a catch, right?
Well, a lot of those spaces are reserved for residents, so even though it's huge, it can fill up fast, especially during peak times.
So, tempting because of the size and location, but not always reliable.
Right. Last but not least, parking San Antonio. Right in the center, near all the shops.
Perfect for a shopping spree.
Exactly. But that prime location comes at a price, 2.45 euros per hour.
Ouch, that's steep.
Yeah.
But I guess you're paying for the convenience.
Pretty much. So we've covered quite a range, budget-friendly to modern to even some with historical significance.
I feel like I just got a masterclass in Cádiz parking. From online reservations at Santa Barbara to hidden gems like Santa Catalina, we've seen it all.
We've given you a whole toolbox for parking in Cádiz. Pre-booking, zone knowledge, the ins and outs of each car park. You're ready to go.
Definitely. And remember, this whole deep dive was about giving you the power to choose the parking strategy that works for you. Budget, location, convenience, even historical vibes. There's a parking solution out there for everyone. You know, after all this parking talk, all these car park names and strategies, do you think maybe I don't even need a car in Cádiz?
That's a good point. You know, Cádiz is really walkable, and with all the parking challenges we talked about, using public transport might actually be a better experience.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty compact, easy to get around on foot. Maybe ditching the car would let me really enjoy the city.
Yeah.
You know, no parking stress.
Exactly. Imagine just walking through those little streets, finding those hidden plazas, those cute cafes, and not worrying about parking at all.
That sounds amazing. And plus, I wouldn't have to deal with those narrow streets, which, let's be honest, can be a little scary to drive.
Public transport in Cádiz is pretty good, too. Buses are reliable, cover most of the city. Taxis are easy to find as well.
I'll definitely check out the bus routes, see if they go where I want to go. It'd be cool to experience the city like a local.
For sure. Who knows? You might even find some hidden gems you wouldn't see if you were driving.
You've given me a lot to think about. I might just go car-free in Cádiz.
Sometimes the best way to see a historic city is just walking, taking it all in at your own pace.
So there you have it. My crash course in Cádiz parking. Insider tips, strategies, and even a little challenge to try public transport.
We've given you everything you need to conquer that parking puzzle, and maybe even inspired you to try a different way to explore the city.
You definitely have. I feel ready to make some smart parking decisions in Cádiz, and I'm really curious about exploring on foot, maybe trying the buses.
That's great to hear. Remember, the goal is to have a fun, stress-free trip. Pick the transport that works best for you.
Thank you so much for all this information. This deep dive has been really helpful.
Happy to help. I hope you have a fantastic time in Cádiz.
I'm sure I will. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go look at those bus routes and dream about those charming plazas and cafes. Happy exploring, everyone.